So in the last video, we did a little animation. I'm gonna take away that animation. So just gonna take that away. Also, I'm gonna take away the red. The red is not nice to look at. All right, there we go. Something a little bit nicer. Now, we're gonna get into events. So first, let's listen for a follow. So basically, we can emulate an event. These are all the events right here. The only one, like if I make alerts, the only ones I include are follow, sub, tip, cheer, raid. Yeah, so you know, just kind of the basics. Okay, but the idea is get a new follower, and we want something to happen on the screen. Let's make the turtle dance a little bit. So every time we get a follower, we're gonna make he'll shake a little bit. I mentioned earlier these event listeners. We have the on widget load one. That's the one that runs right at the beginning of the widget. So this is kind of our setup. I'll write that right here. When widget first loads, setup. So that's kind of what happens. The other event listener, on event received. That's it. Okay, I'm sorry. Should have known that. And we're gonna delete all that stuff. Okay, so there's an object. In this event listener, it sends an object, and there's lots of information in that object. Kind of like when the widget loads, we console logged the object and we looked through all the information. We're gonna do the same thing again. Console.log object. Okay, there we go. There's the widget. And none of this is what we did. So we console logged in the on event received. No event has been received yet, so we're not going to see anything. But let's emulate. Let's make a fake follow. But here we go. This is the information in an on event received. So a lot of this, again, not even gonna look at. We're gonna go into the detail. The listener is called follower latest. Okay, so it's in object.detail.event. No. .listener. Okay, so object.detail.listener. So let's go in here, and we're gonna say if object.detail.listener equals, and we have to give a double equals. In programming, this is different. This is an assignment. That's a rabbit hole. So just for equals, we're using double equals. So we're saying if the listener equals follower dash latest, then we're going to, what are we going to do? Okay, console.log new follower. Here, follower. There we go. That's what we wanted. New follower. And you'll see, so like let's do a tip. $10 tip is not a new follower. So if we go in here, I think the listener is what? No, that's not it. Yeah, the listener is tip latest. So that's how we would check for a tip. But we got what we want. So when we get a new follower, it does the thing. We're on the right track. So the question is, what do we want to happen for each new follower? So I want the turtle. I want him to just wiggle a little bit. So I'm gonna do some rotation. So we'll turn them like 30 degrees. Very quickly, so like 0.4. Power 2 dot out. Okay. Okay, so what this does is it's gonna take the image, it's gonna rotate it 30 degrees very quickly, and then this animation is gonna bring it back to 0, but it's gonna do the wiggle. So the ease I have is that elastic, so it's gonna turn and then come back and settle in. At least it should. So that's what we want for a new follower. Let's see if it actually works. Oh, okay. It worked. Let's try it again. Takes a bit of time, so give it some time. It's not a... There we go. It's not an immediate thing. Could look better. The animation could be better, but you get the idea. So what if we... So we animate the turtle. Okay, that's good. Let's, But usually in a follow, somewhere on the screen, you see the person who followed. So let's change this text here, this donation goal, to the name of the person that followed. We're still printing the object. I need to look in the object to see where that information is. So let's trigger it. Let's see the turtle animate. So I want to look in the information, in the object. So we have detail. In the event, there's all kinds of information. So the display name, like right now it's making one up. So when it happens on stream, it'll say the name of the person that followed, obviously. So display name. So we're looking at display name. Oh, you can get you can get their profile picture too. I did not know that. I'm learning many things now that I'm trying to teach this. Okay. Provider ID, meh. But right now we just want the display name. So it's object.detail.event.displayName. All right, so we're gonna change the name. First, I'm gonna write it right in here. And then I'm gonna show you how it doesn't look good and it's better to write it in a function, but I wanna do this first because we're gonna learn a new concept in JavaScript. So, let's just change the name for right now. So I think we changed the name earlier through this. So box.innerText. That's what we want again. We want to change the box.innerText, but this time we want to change it to, it was object.detail.event.display name. I believe that's right. Let's find out. So when we do the follow, the turtle should shake. That's fine. That's been working. And then this should change to the follower's name. Ah, there we go. Lucia. Nope. Okay, a little slow. Fawn. Perfect. Now, you know, this is actually, it's not that bad because it's just one line of code, but once you start making larger widgets and they start to get so big and so confusing, it's always a good rule of thumb to make it a function and give it a name, a descriptive name. So let's say change name. I guess that's descriptive. All right, change name. And then we're gonna take this here and we're gonna put it here, and then we're just gonna call the function. And it's the same thing, but in the long run it's much, much better because look, you see here, okay, the follower. What happens on a follower? You animate the turtle, and you change the name. If you had this text here and this text here, it would take you some time to actually figure out what it's doing. So it's nice to just take the code, kind of bundle it up in a little function with a nice name, and here we go. Animate turtle, change name. You know exactly what happens. But this isn't going to work. I'll show you in 1 second why. So here we go. The turtle should animate, but the name's not going to change. Okay, exactly. And we go down here, and we have an uncaught reference object. Ugh. Object obj is not defined. So when I originally wrote this code, obj, the object, was available to me because it was right here. But now that the change name function, like this, I can kind of, we're gonna go down a rabbit hole of scope. So variables, so certain variables like this field data variable will only work inside of this function right here. If I try to type field data right here, it won't know what I'm talking about because it's only in this function. So what we have now is a scope problem. So this obj, this object right here, it has no idea what we're talking about. So we're gonna pass it in as a parameter. And then right here, the change name, we pass in obj. So we're passing in this thing. Actually, let's change so you can kind of see. So we're passing in the object, and then we're using the object. And it's very confusing. I know if you're new to coding, you're gonna be like, what? But basically, it's a way to pass information, pass bits of information into a function. It's kind of a short way of, and there we go, it worked. So Matilde and da-da-da. Okay, so that's our follower. There are many others. So let's, so this is an if statement. There's also, we can do else if. So else if, I'm gonna take that away and do console log new sub. I kind of forget. I forget all the names of the listeners, so it might be subscriber latest or sub latest, but we're gonna take a guess. I think donation is tip latest. Again, we're guessing. If we guess wrong, we can always go check what it is. Follower latest, sub latest, tip latest, cheer latest, new cheer. I think there's raids and hosts. Yeah. So basically what we're doing, you know that, we listening for the follower. Here we're listening for the sub. If we get a new sub, it'll print this. If we get a new tip, it'll print this. If we get a new cheer, Okay, let's see. Let's see how many we got right. All right, we'll check follower again. Follower, good. Sub. No. Oh. So no, sub we didn't. Okay, so it's subscriber latest. And also the listeners are different. So like I did this one. I just did one, I think it's 1 month subscriber. There's different kinds of subs. So there's a gifted sub. So I'm trying to figure out, I forget the way to distinguish between the different subs. All right, let's try. So a sub, let's do a custom one. So let's do 1 person, 5 months. Let's do a tier too. Not even gonna get into that, not yet. So this is a 5 month sub right here. The amount should be 5. Yeah, so the amount, that's the months. You can get the message. Okay, let's do the same thing, but let's make it gifted. Community gift? Oh, there we go. Okay, so detail event gifted. Okay. Detail event gifted. So we can come in here. And what is it? It's subscriber, right? Subscriber latest. Subscriber latest, new sub. But we also want to do another check. So we want to see if object.detail.event.gifted equals true. So if that's true, we want a console.log gifted sub, and we want to return. So return means kind of like break out of this if statement here. So we don't want, it's gonna kind of cut out. We're done. Once we find out it's a gifted sub, we don't need any more information after that. So we're gonna cut out. So when I do a sub, just a normal sub, it should say new sub. And then if I do a gifted one, it should say new gifted sub. I forgot. I already forget what I wrote. All right, let's see. There we go, new sub. Good, good. And then gift. What's the difference between a gift and a community gift? All right, there we go. So gifted sub, says it right there. All right, let's see the tip. All right, there we go. New tip. Good. Cheer. New cheer. Good. Raid. New raid. Good. Yeah, so, I mean, there's other things you could do. Like, or let's say someone is a redemption from your shop. So we go in, we look at the detail, the event, the data. Yeah, so it looks like it gives you the display name, the amount, I guess the amount purchased or something. So the listener you'd be looking for is an event type redemption. So here, let's do that. Actually, okay. Listener, no, detail.event. Detail.event. Type equals redemption. All right, so certain things are in different things are in different places. Like right here, object.detail.listener. We're looking for the host latest. In this one, the listener is just called an event, which isn't that. It's not that specific. So we're gonna use the event.type. So in here, event.type redemption, and just gonna type in redemption. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Control Z is undo. If you mess anything up, Control Z it. Item redemption should say, yeah, there it is, redemption. That's what we console logged. Alright, so that was probably pretty boring, looking at all kinds of little text. But this is how you make widgets. This is like, This is the meat and potatoes of the widgets right here. Every widget, it does something on a follow, or on a cheer, or on a chat message. You know, that's what all widgets are. And in the next one, we're gonna start looking at chat messages. So these were events, sort of follow and all that. And next we're gonna start handling chat messages, and I will see you there.